First of all, I just have a question for you. Who here is married? If you are married, please raise your hand so we can see who among us has tied the knot. For those who haven't raised their hands, I assume you are either single, not yet married, or perhaps in a committed relationship but not officially married. It's interesting to see the diversity in relationship statuses among us. Actually, everyone here is married. Everyone is married. Everyone has actually been in a marriage for the past 3 to 4 years, by the way. The biggest relationship you have is your relationship with money. You all have a damn different relationship with money. Based on what you've seen, based on what you've experienced, based on what you've been told, you all have a damn relationship with money. So now you're thinking, he's nice and all, but we're here for crypto, not for therapy. We're here to make some money. If you don't master your relationship with money, everything else is pointless. Having a balanced relationship with money will give you a bright, fluid, free life, and I know that very well. Or if you have a negative relationship with money, you can do whatever you want, take all the actions you want. You will find yourself in the same situations, with the same problems, with exactly the same disorders. And you'll have a tense life in your relationships, tense with yourself, tense in your relationship with the world. So understand this well. We're going to start with the relationship with money. Why? Because it's the foundation of everything. Before we start a conference on investing and finance, it's important to be aware of your own relationship with money. Of course, it's not about positive thinking or any of that nonsense or praying or whatever, even though that can play a part. What will change your life are actions and decisions, that's for sure. Actions and decisions that will lead to new results. But at some point, you really need to introspect and ask yourself the question, because if you don't do it today, and if you haven't done it before, well, I see it every day, whether it's in trading, people making the same mistakes, whether it's in my family, or in my previous job when I was a therapist. I've helped thousands of people. I've been able to see a bit among the people I've helped, the people I'm helping today because I support individuals in investing in crypto, and also within my family, in myself. I've noticed some qualities in people who find it easy to be fluid with money. And I've also noticed, of course, some flaws and common issues among those people who had difficulties with money. So what I'm going to teach you today, to start with, is the foundation, the basis for everything else. And that's why I insist on it. Most people want to jump right into investing or trading or whatever, but they don't understand that 90% of your success is going to be linked to your mindset. So there is an absolute need to do this. The goal of this 10 seminar is to be able to sleep and wake up the next morning with a little more money. So it's not going to happen with a snap of your fingers. But the goal is that it's to be able to train actions that will allow you to no longer be caught up in the mediocre grind, especially in France, where money is a problem, where it's tough, where there are a lot of difficulties. So I'm going to share a whole bunch of things with you. But first, because I find you all a bit quiet, I'd like you to all stand up. Go ahead, stand up. And you're going to move to the side, just to the side out of your seats. You're going to do something very simple. When I tell you, you're going to go as far as you can and give a high five to everyone you can in the room, all the way to the back, to the left, to the right, as many people as possible for 1.5 minutes. Let's go. High five to everyone. Let's get up. Let's get up. Are we awake? MFP subtitles. Come on! 5. Come on! It's too soft. Hey, come on everyone, please. Let's all sit down together and comfortably. Sit down. Sit down now, please, everyone. Let's all sit down comfortably. Sit down. Fortunately, there are no more COVID lockdowns. Come on.
There we go. It's a little better now.
There we go. It's a little better now. You have a smile. What did you win? Nothing. For now, you haven't won anything, but you're feeling better. Why? Here. You took action. You don't know why. You met people. You weren't expecting to do that. And naturally, you have a smile. You won't be the same if you have a phone call to make in the next 10 seconds compared to just before that. What did we do? Nothing. It's ridiculous. Why are we doing this? I'm happy. Why? Because physiology changed. Different action. Different mindset. It's natural. 90, if not 99%, of the results you're going to get are related to your psychology in all areas. In fact, in many areas, it's about 80% psychology and 20% action. Whether it's your business, your relationships, or investing, it's going to be 90, 99%. And I'm in a very, very good position to know this because for 10 years, I questioned myself. 10 years where I had a lot of troubles and questions about money. My goal in this first hour is to help you gain 10 years. 10 years of doubts, 10 years of struggles, 10 years of resentments, 10 years of anger, 10 years of hesitation. I come from a family where I didn't lack money. I wasn't rich, but I didn't lack money. On the other hand, talking about money values wasn't something you did in a family from Algeria. A bit like in a Jewish family, where the kids become doctors, lawyers, and so on. But on the other hand, we won't seek investment, we won't talk about money. And everything that was said in my family was really tense when it came to money. So, for years, I didn't know why I had a negative relationship with money. In my previous job, at the beginning, I wanted to have more clients. And I naturally realized that the more I shifted the focus to accepting having more money, accepting that it's normal, the more clients I got. It's magical. It's not magical. It's that your values, your habits, your beliefs, what you've experienced, what you've heard, directly influence your results. Understand this well? Wanting to invest, that's why I start with this. You say, he's doing psychology. I didn't come for that. Yes, but yes, yes. And if you've never questioned yourself, you really need to start questioning yourself. Because wanting to invest, wanting to make X10, without understanding yourself at least a little, is like you telling me, I want to learn a new language, but I haven't learned the alphabet. You were telling me, I want to drive a yacht, but I don't want to learn how to swim. So great, you're going to drive the yacht. But as soon as there's a wave, I can assure you that the reflexes you'll have won't be the same as someone who knows how to swim. You're going to make absurd decisions. You're going to do things in a panic because you haven't. And you've never sought answers to things that are unconscious. 90% of our unconscious influences our decisions. If I trade, if I can have a little quality in that, it's at least having introspected and being able to really know my psychology and my flaws. It doesn't stop me from having them. It doesn't stop me from making mistakes, but it saves me from a lot of errors. So understand this well. Everything we're going to do in this first hour will be about finding, annihilating, and switching all the bullshit, all the beliefs, all the habits you've had related to your history, related to your family, because you definitely have them. We're all more or less French. We all speak French logically if you're here. In France, it's special. We come from a Catholic tradition. Jesus drove the merchants out of the temple. So yes, secular, okay, but we're still Catholic. There's this thing in the unconscious where money is seen as negative. There's also this thing for years, almost communist, where being an entrepreneur, accumulating money, is seen as being a torturer. It's being someone who exploits. And then, to finish, in France, we don't talk about money. Asking a woman her age is the same as asking a man how much he earns. She won't answer, and neither will he. There's a huge taboo around that. People have a hard time talking about money. And yet, you go across the Atlantic to the United States, and you have everything without a second thought. People, you have a great car, and they applaud you. Because it's different traditions, different indoctrinations. In the United States, there's going to be a tradition that is completely different, more Protestant. And the Protestants, just for the record, believed that money was something to be used to honor God. So, there's all this basic indoctrination that you have, plus the unconscious indoctrination from your parents. How did your parents manage money? Did you have an allowance? Did you have to share with your siblings? Did you have abundance, but it didn't matter what your results were? Or did they give you money if you succeeded? All of this directly influences the decisions you make about your investments. Directly, except that most people never think about that. They say, no, I want to invest. What's that about? Yes, you want to invest, but you're going to lose if you don't do that. Because you won't have the mindset to hold on, the mindset to make the right decision. It's not just a choice to make an investment, trade, or anything else related to money. It's about knowing yourself well, having truly conquered those demons, and be able to have a free field. Most people will either do what they've already seen from their family, like, I lived a certain way, so I do it that way, or the opposite, like, oh no, I hated my parents. I lived one way, so I do the opposite. I had parents who never gave me money, and well, for my kids, I never refused them anything. But they are conditioned. They are totally conditioned. They are not free in that. I had parents who didn't give me money, and well, I never refused my children anything. But they are conditioned. They are totally conditioned. They are not free in that. True freedom is always the same thing. It's being able to see all the colors, blue, green, red, and to be able to say, I choose black or white whenever I want. Understand that everything that's happening within you is mostly unconscious. In my personal story, like many families, it was my father who managed the finances. In France, even today, it's generally the father who manages the finances. My father paid the rent for my mother. I lived with my mother. And he had a lot of work. For years, I had a very negative view of money because I didn't see my father because he had to work. I used to think that if we didn't need money anymore, I would see him. But I wasn't thinking about that while eating my Cocoa Puffs in the morning. On the other hand, that leads to a whole bunch of choices. So whenever I had money, I would waste it. Or my way of seeing how I could make money was negative. It was in the illicit. It was illegal because money was negative. It deprived me of seeing my father. So I was in that mindset. I unconsciously had that tension. And then all the phrases that could be said, my parents are perfect above all. All parents are perfect. They all do the best they can. I've often repeated because I bring this, so you owe me that. There was a relationship with money where I give, so in a way you have to comply. For a long time I had that relationship thinking, I don't see him, but he's financing this, so I can't say anything. Understand, it influenced me for years. In my family, there are often people who have done higher education. I didn't go to a very high level of education. First of all, I missed out on my education. The only thing I succeeded in was studying psychology. At school, I used to think, does the Pythagorean theorem help me eat or not in the evening? No, I couldn't care less about the answer. Of course, I wasn't learning anything. On the other hand, when I was studying psychology, I could see the impact. There, I was the most diligent. There, I was doing, and when I did those 5 years of psychology, in the last year, what was the bonus? A year on money, and what do you think I did? Because there are some who think they have the answer. What do you think I did? Did I do it? Well, actually, no, I didn't do it. It's useless. A year on money, well, in terms of financial considerations, and well, what's the point, right? I mean, I came to help people, I came to help people, their problems, money. Well, that's the thing I regretted the most. Because after that, for years, I tried everything. I'm talking about watching videos with luxury cars and apartments for 10 minutes, visualizing things, putting myself in the mindset of having 30,000 euros in my bank account. I have 30,000 euros. That never worked. But I did it because I came from a family where my mother didn't talk about money. She didn't manage finances. And when she did manage them, she kind of squandered them. And my father had an almost aggressive relationship with money. So I had this complicated relationship with myself when it came to money. So at the beginning, when I started my work as a therapist, well, naturally, I couldn't even ask them to pay. In the end, and what do I attract to myself? Darn. I forgot my checkbook. I was really angry. Oh, we don't pay. But in front, there's no problem. No problem, don't worry. I'm here for the people. Except that by the end of the month, I'm eating radishes. For years, that conditioned me. Years and years. And today, it's someone speaking to you who has a lot of experience on why you need to overcome your beliefs and be free in your choices about money. So, we're going to do a simple first exercise. You're going to take a sheet of paper, your iPad, your phone, and you're going to take 2-3 minutes to answer the following question. A lot of money for me is, well, it's a significant amount of money, you know. And you will put down an amount. A lot of money for me is, very little money for me is, and you will put down an amount. You're going to put down a first amount for what is a lot of money, and a second answer for what is very little money. And you're going to add just one last element. What is the expression you heard most frequently in your family about money? I'll give you 3 minutes. Once you're done, you'll share it with either person on your left or right. No judgment, no discussion. Just, there you go. My answer is that, and you just share 3 minutes, think about it, and then you share with your neighbor. All right, let's share with your neighbor, whether it's a guy or a girl, it doesn't matter. Let's group into threes and just exchange your answers if you finish. What does a lot of money mean to me? What does little money mean to me? And what was the phrase or word I heard the most in my family? Go ahead and with your neighbor, whether it's a guy or a girl. There aren't many I put, is that it? All right, 30 seconds, that's it. 30 more seconds. All right, that's it. Come on, it's over. Please, everyone present in the room, could you kindly raise your hand if you were surprised by your neighbor's answer? No one was surprised, honestly, because I saw some of you up front going, oh, really? Yeah, well, yes, of course. Honestly, what your neighbor is going to tell you corresponds to their norm, to their threshold. We all have a threshold when it comes to money. If I say 2,000 euros, what does that mean to you? For example, tell me the first thing that comes to mind. Not much? For you, what is 2,000 euros? Not a lot? An item, a situation, something? 2,000 euros. A salary? Very good. Someone else, another answer? 2,000 euros. An iPad Pro. There you go. Peugeot. The thresholds you will set mentally come from the thresholds you experienced with your famine. And the threshold that is acceptable for you to win, the thresholds on money are something you will definitely experience them if you're not aware of them. If you start earning, I can assure you, I see it every day in the group of people I train in trading, they can earn 10,000. If they're not ready, or if the person isn't ready to earn 10,000, they will automatically lose it back, no matter how. If they're not ready, or if the person isn't ready to earn 10,000, they will automatically lose it back, no matter how. You will always do what feels normal for you. You will always do what feels normal for you. And that applies in all areas. It's shameful to earn 10,000 because let's say you had a father or a mother who raised 4 children and worked a lot, who didn't earn much. Maybe in your subconscious, earning 10,000 or 5,000 all at once is not acceptable. So you will give it back. That's not acceptable. So you will give it back. You will lose it. You will make a mistake and you will say, I made a mistake, or I treated myself to this. But in truth, it's just your mindset that isn't ready. In the same way, someone who sets a price standard will always find a way to reach it. Someone who says, for me, the minimum, I don't know what your answers are, but the minimum for me is 5,000, needs to make sure that if they drop below that threshold, they will find the 5,000. One way or another, they will find it because it's unbearable. Think carefully in your life when you've been in trouble, the threshold that is unbearable for you, you instantly bounce back, you found a way, you motivated yourself, you took a different action that pushed you right back into the zone you were in, always. So the range of what is a lot for me and what is a lot is the range that conditions you. And that comes directly from how money was talked about at home, how my family viewed money and how I received it. Did my parents give me any? Did I have pocket money? Did I spend easily? Should I share? And of course, beliefs and repetitive experiences that I've had throughout my journey up to today. That's why I told you at the beginning, the most important relationship you have is your relationship with money. And we all have a love-hate relationship. Love or hate, I can assure you. No one is indifferent to money. If someone tells me no, it's fine. So take me to paradise because I'm a saint. Everyone, whether they work or not, if they have worked, I agree. But whether they work or not, everyone has an unbalanced relationship with money. Understand well that if you don't fix this, there's no point in doing the rest. It's useless. You can learn everything else, but it won't matter. If it hasn't been wired, the rest won't be. And unconsciously, if that has been wired, the rest will follow. When I was a therapist, since I was there to help humanity, that was my desire. I had a hard time receiving money from them, and so I didn't have any clients. When I switched to thinking, but wait, if I have more money, I can do more advertising, so I can help more people. Suddenly, my practice was full. I can assure you that when I started to tell myself that money can be a means or have a purpose, why was I refusing it? Just like that, my practice was full. I can assure you that when I started to tell myself that money can be a means or have a purpose, why was I refusing it? I have people, but I also have the right to be paid. If you want to move from a volunteer path in finance, I've experienced what bad beliefs about money are. I have people, but I also have the right to be paid. If you want to move from a volunteer path in finance, I've experienced what bad beliefs about money are. In my family, I'll give you an example. My grandfather, when he gave me money when I was little, he would take a bill and hide it. There are plenty of families, that's it. When we give a good amount, we hide it. Why do we hide? Why do we hide it? It's dirty, it's what's going on? Is it negative? Well, no. Money is an energy, nothing more. To give, to receive. Then you're going to have people saying, how come this football player earns so much while the other one works 80 hours and doesn't earn as much? The energy of money is just all the tension you've placed on something. I'm going to give you another example. When it comes to attention and energy on a project, very often the results were much better, I'm not talking about marketing, than when I put in less attention. In the same way, if you're going to pay a surgeon for X reasons, you're actually paying for all the attention that person has given, all the energy they've put in. Money is a way to exchange energy, and your relationship with money is closely tied to your relationship with giving and your relationship with receiving. There are people here who are very generous. There are people here who might be a bit more stingy. There are people here who find it easy to give And maybe those same people who find it easy to give are generally uncomfortable when they receive. And conversely, your entire relationship and journey with money will influence all your decisions. That's why today I'm going to introduce you to some typical profiles so that you can become aware of these classic profiles that you're likely to recognize. First up, the saver is great. The saver has a great quality. They've understood one thing. You need to spend less than you earn. So that's one of the solutions to make money. Anyway, there are 3 solutions: spend less, earn more, or save. Well, I'm not interested in spending less. I'm not interested in saving. What interests me is earning more. The saver often comes from a farming family. And France has a rather farming culture. So what's going to happen with that? Are there any sons, daughters of farming families or great-grandparents? Raise your hand. There you go. Very often, what do these people do? They spend less. They generally hate credit. They're very grounded. I remember when I was a therapist, I had a client who was an oyster farmer. We looked at him, and he looked like a homeless person. Luckily, he's not here. He looked like a homeless person, a multimillionaire. Multimillionaire, because for him, he doesn't care about clothes or stuff. He will invest in things that are essential, and the quality of this profile is that, in general, they do have some investment. But they're afraid. They're afraid to take risks. They're really afraid of losing. So they take their time, because that's also part of the profile of someone who is a farmer. He takes the time for the harvest, he accumulates, and then afterwards, he reaps what he has been able to, the fruit of his labor. Very frequently indeed, in many instances, there are also negative values, and unfortunately, like I had to kill. I put all my energy into being able to earn that money. You have to sweat to earn money. You have to work hard. That was a belief I held very, very strongly. Of course, you have to work. You don't have to work hard. So we see on social media, don't work harder, work smarter. Yes, okay. What's the solution? Very well. But the truth is that there are a lot of people who hold this belief in social classes where they work much harder. My father has been working 80 hours a week since I was born. So in my mind, work is, and I was even stressed out. I used to think, if you don't succeed in your studies, what are you going to do? Your whole family are graduates. What are you going to do? I was under a lot of stress. And then seeing him work, etc. I had values about money. For me, it was complicated. 10,000. With one click, I made more than my father's salary. Oh, well, that's not good. I have to give it. How can I, having lived 25 years, 28 years, seeing my father in, oh no, I can't do that, I won't keep it. Oh no, that's not it. Earning 5, 6, 7,000 euros, for me, with one click, I'm going to make 10,000. But that's not acceptable for my mental state. That's not acceptable. So if I hadn't worked for it, I would have wasted it. And of course, this second profile, which exists and is very well known, is the high roller, the spender. So right now, it's easy. We're going to drink some later on the Champs-Élysées. I'll show you some high rollers. Guys who take stories with 3 bottles of champagne and they've burned through their month's salary. High rollers, they have great qualities. They always make money. The great qualities, the high rollers. They find a way to make money. But those who earn 10,000, 100,000, or 5,000, or 2,000, if they get a bonus, they'll end up at 0 or in the negative. They're always going to burn through everything. They will always spend everything. The high roller has a negative relationship with himself, a relationship of worthiness. In his story, he surely has something along the lines of, I don't deserve this money. But he doesn't know it, otherwise he wouldn't do that. But he has a negative relationship with money, thinking, it burns a hole in my pocket. I need to get rid of it. And by the way, who are the biggest ones? Who are going to splash some cash? Who do that? Casino players? Or people in the illegal trade? People in the mafia? People who are dealers? Why? Because it's dirty money, you have to spend it. You can't let it show. There are taxes. They will splash the cash. They have a negative perception of money. So, the high roller's great quality is that he will always find a way to have money. But no matter how much he earns, he will end up in the negative or at 0. So that's a very, very common profile among people who generally had a bit of a story with their parents where the value they were given wasn't okay. Okay, let's look at a third profile. This one is magnificent. This one is the enlightened ones. A bit rarer, but those are like me. I was like that at one point. Let's pray. I can feel it now. Here, there's an incantation. It's here. It's now. These are spiritual people. They will only be in spirituality. Right now, I'm being guided. on a mission. And now I'm going to make money. So these people, either they're going to invest everything at once or nothing, but they're going to trust the Holy Spirit of I don't know who. It's very good because for me, money is spiritual. But these people have a relationship with matter. When I say matter, I don't mean the material of the table. I mean embodied matter, human beings, which is difficult. In general, these are people who have a bit of a social deficiency, struggling to be with others, having a hard time with humanity. So, they also have a hard time accepting money as a material thing. What are they doing? They transpose it. It's divine. If it's given to me, it's because I must. And by the way, if they lose, they'll say it was karma. It's no big deal. They're going to have a very spiritual relationship with money. For them, we have to reconcile ourselves with matter by saying to ourselves, okay, yes, it's spiritual, but what actions am I going to take? What the hell actions am I going to take? Because when I assure you it's true, I was alone in my apartment. I would watch every day for 10 minutes, luxury cars. I don't have a driver's license, luxury houses, abundance. And the first times I watched these videos, I felt uncomfortable seeing them. And I did it in a way that made it feel normal, obvious. Yes, that's the trend. What happened to me afterwards? I assure you that it's true. I was able to buy a beautiful apartment that was luxurious. I'm not saying that there weren't any actions and that it just fell into my lap, but I first had to work on it and take action. And those profiles forget about actions. The spiritual but without actions. No, that doesn't work. In many traditions, I'm telling you, for the few people, in many spiritual traditions, the most important thing is action. Action. Prayer is good, but action. We're going to see another profile that is fascinating. So this one is the risk taker. It's the casino player, so I love him. He wants maximum profitability as quickly as possible and never looks at the risks. He gets scammed by everyone. Hi, you've won an iPhone. That's the profile that will get scammed the most, and it's the profile that it doesn't matter. Now, how much is it then? You told me how much. 30 X30. I'm putting it on. But there, you have 1% of making the X30. But I don't care. I'm putting that in. All in. This profile generally has a relationship with himself that revolves around recognition. He wasn't recognized in his family, so he needs to prove himself, and therefore he ignores the risks. His self-worth is tied to, I can't earn normally or impress parents. Ignores risks, makes poor investments, and acts unwisely. Work on normalizing your view of money and earnings. So this profile will tend to ignore the risks, only make stupid investments by going all in on them and only doing stupid things. This profile, of course, if you have it, you'll need to work on the idea that money and the way you make money can be normal. You need to take your time, and you don't have to have something to prove. Even though we all need recognition, it's a human need. You'll need to bring that down a notch. You need to take your time, and you don't have to have something to prove. Even though we all need recognition, it's a human need. We're going to need to bring that down a notch. And we're going to look at one last profile, which is Fantomas. He's in denial. So that's what I was. So listen closely. He's great. As long as the credit card goes through, everything goes. No, I don't want to see my bank account. How much? I don't want to see. Is the credit card going through? It's all good. I have money. Let's go. These are people who have a very negative relationship with money. We don't talk about it. They especially don't talk about it. If you ask them about their salary, they will never answer you. And because for them, it scares them to get into that. The thing about this profile is that they always defend themselves when the card doesn't go through. If the card doesn't go through, they'll manage to get by, they'll return to their baseline. But as long as it goes through, they'll never earn more money. So generally, they have small investments. They don't have not much wealth, but in any case, they're pretty much average. This profile really needs to work on positive values regarding money and dig a bit into their history. And that's the work you need to do because we're going to have a day. But think inwardly, take notes. It will help you when you're outside, and it will work when you're outside. We're going to look at another profile, which is also great, a bit like the first one. It's more like the squirrel. So this one is going to accumulate. What he wants is to accumulate. He always wants to accumulate because he feels insecure all the time. He's not going to spend much on his life, his needs either, but he will always accumulate wealth. His goal is to accumulate because he has a hard time feeling secure. That's why we call him the squirrel. He tends to be stingy in this case. It's not that he's stingy. No, he invests in important things. It's someone who will generally have a story where they didn't have enough, they missed out. Okay? We've all known someone in our family or among friends who has struggled and behaves a bit like that. Yes, I know he's like that because he didn't have money when he was little, so it's normal. Yes, okay, but he feels insecure all the time. You're going to have Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett. I was watching something. He was asking for his phone. He has an old piece of junk, flip phone. You could have a diamond and gold iPhone. He wouldn't care. He will remain insecure, even though he is one of the biggest investors in the world. But inside, there is insecurity. Anyway, that's just a side note. But in every extraordinary success, there's a bit of trouble. You can't succeed without having a little problem. You need to have a bit of madness to succeed like him. That's just a side note. We're going to see the squirrel, the one who's going to be a bit... We're going to see another one, the volunteer. So this is my mom. So, if there are any volunteers in the room, they're amazing. We do everything voluntarily. We go to the organizations, we help them for free. Money. No, just give me what you have, give me what you have. These are people who will have an extremely negative relationship with money. The most negative of all. Money is Satan. Well, no, I don't do this for the money. We're going to find people in culture, artists, the national education system, leftist values. There you go. We're going to find that naturally we're going to find people who have a certain view of money. It's terrible. What I express to others is that I do it because I have humanist values. But deep down, I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not okay with it. I'm not okay with that because underneath, it might make me feel bad. And we're going to have people who might actually give more than what they have. I remember my mom when I was little. I'll give you an example. She gave more to the neighbor's kids than to me. All the neighbor's animals were the best animals, but my dad's cat was the worst. Others on the surface I give, but inside I'm not comfortable. So understand that this volunteer profile is a false, generous person. In public, he'll say that, but deep down, he's not comfortable with it. So what he absolutely needs to work on is, I deserve money. I have the right to have money. It's okay to have money. And deep down, you all have one of these two things. Am I comfortable with being stingy, or am I comfortable with being generous? Am I uncomfortable with being stingy, or am I uncomfortable with being generous? And I can assure you that if you're generous, it's because, in truth, you're afraid of being seen as stingy, of being seen as someone who doesn't have money. So understand this well. You are not influenced by your decisions or your thoughts. You are influenced by what you have experienced. If we don't change that from the start, well, everything else will be useless. That's why I insist. Another profile. This one is also amazing. For him, it's like a roller coaster. He is generally a former employee who is venturing into entrepreneurship. Now I'm fired up. I'm ready to go, darling. Here we go. Here we go. You know what? I quit my... Well, I still have unemployment benefits. But I'm giving myself 6 months. He's an ambivalent person. He wants to take a risk, but not too much after all. He wants to invest, but not too much after all. This is the new entrepreneur, a former employee who really struggles to take risks and has a hard time letting go of his old life. To really understand, this profile is going to have to make a choice. You can't succeed without losing. It's not possible. I'll come back to that later. But you can't succeed at something without leaving something else behind. So this profile is going to need to work a lot on decision making. The choice I'm making, I'm 100% on board with it. And I have to dive in 100%. If I dive in 50% into a relationship, do you think it will work? No. So I really have to dive in 100% if I want to start something. But this profile doesn't want to leave anything behind. I have a bit of security here, and at the same time I have this, yes, but you can't succeed in investing without making decisions that you are completely in agreement with. It's really important to put that into perspective. And the last profile, which we'll call the all-inclusive. The Club Med all-inclusive. He is magnificent. So, in your family, I'm sure there are some who will recognize him. It's like, I got my money's worth, you see? All-you-can-eat menu, but were you hungry? No, but I took 3 plates. Wait, they're not going to steal from me. This profile, there's a promotion, whatever. I'm buying, oh no, I'm going to stock these because I'm going to keep them for a year. There you go. Did you need that? No, but wait. They will neglect their well-being because they're afraid of being scammed, afraid of being robbed, afraid of missing an opportunity. And this profile, you'll see that they're going to make a ton of mistakes in investing. Just like at an all-you-can-eat buffet, they're going to stuff themselves, they might end up with a stomachache, they're going to feel bad. But because they have a negative belief about money, the opportunity is more important than my well-being. So they need to work, what is my place as a person? And how do I see myself? And in general, they don't see themselves. They don't see themselves. I'm exaggerating, but they don't see themselves. They have a very down-to-earth understanding of things. They're not going to think, if there's someone listening to me right now, psychology is all well and good, but I came for nothing. He's all about the money, me. He's going to be like that. He's going, think materially. He doesn't question that, even though he should, because very often it stems from a childhood where the person was neglected and in need. And as a result, they don't want to miss out anymore. They don't want to be scammed. There can be family stories if that's the case. In my family history, my grandfather, who came from Algeria, came to France. He came with suitcases full of money, which he made in the hairdressing business. He was a very famous Algerian hairdresser. But before that, he was poor. My family was part of the Neapolitan mafia. My uncle was in the mafia, and so was my grandfather. In Algiers, they weren't bothered. But they came from a very poor family. And yet, their father had money at their birth. And he lost everything. Why did he lose everything? Because he signed a contract. He was a trawler. He signed a contract, a bad contract. He lost all the money. And when he lost all the money, my whole family, my grandfather, his brother, everyone who used to open doors for them, closed them because they no longer had any money. So I can tell you that in terms of negative beliefs, in terms of values about money, you shouldn't trust others. Be careful, my son, be careful. Always. It influences. So if you have stories in your family about scams, inheritances, people who had a lot of money but did whatever they wanted, anything related to money that's been swept under the rug, it's going to influence your decisions. And I can assure you that the main decisions you make about money have been influenced by that, even by things from your great-grandparents. So understand that as long as you don't seek to introspect on this, moving forward isn't possible. So I'm going to suggest a very simple exercise. So understand that in order to truly and deeply introspect on this and reflect, the rest is not possible. So I'm going to offer you a very simple exercise. You're going to write down a negative or limiting phrase that you've heard about money or that you've faced in your life, whether it comes from your family or something you believe, a limiting or negative phrase. You're also going to note an event, no matter what it is, whether it's positive or negative, but something that has marked your family regarding money. So it could be, well, I had money with both my parents, and then when my parents divorced, this happened. Well, my uncle passed away, so my aunt got some money, and she ended up giving it mostly to her kids. No matter what it is, in this exercise, you are tasked with writing down 2 specific types of phrases related to money. First, think of a limiting phrase about money that you have either heard from others or that you personally believe. This could be something like, money doesn't grow on trees, or I'm not good with money. Next, consider a negative phrase about money, perhaps something that reflects a fear or a negative belief, such as, I'll never have enough money, or money is the root of all evil. Once you have these phrases, think of a significant situation in your life that relates to money. This could be a time when you faced a financial challenge, made a big purchase, or learned an important lesson about money management. You have 30 seconds to jot these down. Afterward, you'll form small groups of 2 or 3 people. In these groups, take turns sharing your phrases and the story behind your significant money-related situation. Discuss the impact these beliefs and experiences have had on your life. I'll give you a few minutes to engage in this discussion. Remember, the goal is to share and reflect on your experiences with money, so feel free to elaborate on your story. This exercise is meant to be quick, but also insightful to make the most of your time. You quickly chat with your neighbor. What's the story in your family about money? That's what you need. How has that limited me in my life?
Is it beautiful for everyone? Quickly, it was just about exchanging. It's just a matter of you becoming aware that your history naturally influences what you do. And you realize that either today or you remember it. You remember it, but it automatically influences your actions. So there are things hidden under the rug, there are beliefs, there are norms, there are thresholds. 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, what does that represent for me? There are a lot of things, but we also need solutions. We'll continue in a bit, but before we wrap up, I'd like you to jot down 3 things. The first one, what is my goal in coming here? What is my goal in coming here? I came here, it's nice, I want to see the guy from Instagram and the other one who talks about voice messages. If that's the case, thank you, thank you, thank you. But I didn't come for that. I didn't come here to deliver that to you. So why did you come here? What is your goal in coming here? What is your goal for the next 30 days? Financial, of course. If you tell me, lose 5 kilos, thank you. On the other hand, I'm not the sporty type. Maybe Lucif earlier, but that's not me. In the next 3 days, what is your financial goal? And in the next 12 months, what is your financial goal? And you can write down a phrase, an amount, and an image. Writing down an image can just be a memory. It's for you. You can write down, I don't know, a vacation in Jerba, I have no idea, but just something that you visualize. Your goal in coming here, your goal in a month, and your goal over the next 12 months will continue in a bit. And I want to tell you that the key to most problems is finding something stronger than yourself. Because very often when we have a problem, we focus on ourselves. So, to introspect, you need to focus on yourself, of course. When you find a concept that transcends you, everything will fall into place. When you find a motivation that is greater than your own self, everything will fall into place. We can see this very clearly in parents who go above and beyond, sometimes when they become parents, because what transcends them is their children. If you have a project, a goal that isn't just I want to make money, but something greater than that, it's Eckhart Tolle who said, if your only goal is to make money, you exclude others and you exclude yourself. If your goal is to shine and you do something that brings you joy and serves the world, then you have a good chance of attracting abundance to yourself. And it's the same thing. If your goal is to shine and you do something that brings you joy and serves the world, then you have a good chance of attracting abundance to yourself. And it's the same thing. So understand this well. Your long-term and medium-term goals must transcend your simple self. And we'll see that later. I'm going to leave you for now. And I just hope that most of the people here didn't come just to see our faces, but really came to move forward, work on their mindset, and also make some money. But before we finish, let's get up one last time because this is too soft. What are we going to do? He's going to tell us to clap our hands. We're going to do something very simple. You're going to go to the end of the room over there, as far as possible, and you're going to give a high five to as many people as you can, but not like this. Yeah! Yeah. Strongly. Okay. Go for it. High five.
Indeed.
How's it going, guys? How's it going? High five. Ouch. High five. With pleasure.
Let's go. Touch any globe. To see change. Here comes the earth. Step up, burn it. I'm never a gangster. Burn it. Pick up the cue in any area. Burn it. I still love you like that. Burn it. Here comes the earth. Step up, burn